I have a question. This I am going to direct towards Basil because I did research on you too.
Uh-oh.
And this is a question going back many, many years ago. You were the artistic director of New Fest, the New York Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender Film Festival. You left that, I believe, around, was it 2008 or so? But you just talked about at that time, you gave sort of an exit interview to IndieWire and just talking about the state of the business then and the lack of support and funding, and talking about foundations. Founding can be invaluable, but oftentimes people look for new funding or money, but forgetting, hey, we already have programs in place and we need to fund that. I would say, obviously, and maybe not, Sundance is probably well-funded and doing very well, but I'm curious from you, and actually from both of you, about the state of the industry. A couple of years ago, Boys State did very well in terms of sales. And by the way, great film. The filmmakers are friends of the show. We think they're phenomenal. I believe Girls State is there. Is that correct? Girls State is going to be there.
Yep.
So I'm excited to see that. But what is, for you, and I know it's not all about the business, but it is about the business, what is the state of the business in terms of it blew up, big players were getting in, money was thrown around, expectations were high. Now we hear from many terrific filmmakers with great films, whether it was Beyond Utopia, what I loved, King Cole that I loved, great films, but hard to find a space for it. People do it because they love it. People do it because it's necessary, but they can't do it without funds or money. What is the state in terms of funding, and what is the state in terms of expectations of, if you don't get a big deal, somehow you failed? And I think, Basil, what you said earlier, it's not failure to tell a story. It's only a perception of failure if it doesn't sell.
Yeah, great question. And of course, everyone in this industry is reckoning with what's been going on within all parts of the industry, both on the fiction and nonfiction side, to be honest. We've been going through ebbs and flows with the industry. And we've been in what people have called the documentary golden age for a while. But it's hard to deny that there are struggles right now. We will say that whilst films certainly didn't have the same kind of marketplace at the festival this past year, at least in terms of immediate acquisitions, a lot of titles did get sold eventually. Maybe they weren't getting the top dollar that you maybe would have seen pre-pandemic, but the world has changed. And as you said, the marketplace has also changed. The way the distributors function, the way that the streamers function have all changed. All that said, I think that filmmakers have taken this last year, especially with the upheaval of the strikes and everything else going on, to sort of maybe manage their expectations a bit in terms of what is realistic in terms of sales, what is realistic in terms of getting films out there. And again, sort of helping to recalibrate their ideas of what success does mean. And as we said, for us, we've never had a situation, even in the glory days of the absolute pinnacle of the golden age. There has never been a year where every single documentary at the festival sells. It doesn't happen. We love for films to get out there. Part of getting out there may not be an actual sale, but just doing a really robust festival circuit, traveling around, meeting audiences, doing grassroots screenings. Television, of course, has always been part and parcel of doing nonfiction, distribution. I tend to be an optimist, and I tend to think that there are audiences for these films, and that there will be, as with everything, there are cycles. There will be a time when the marketplace will need these films again and will want to acquire them. Maybe they're not going to acquire them for the same money that they've been acquired in the past. But maybe people have to readjust their ideas of what their budget should be when sort of making films, and what they should be expecting in terms of selling films. That's not to discourage anyone. I just think it's sort of understanding and sort of being nimble with how the marketplace works. We know that certain types of films still are doing okay in terms of the larger marketplace. We don't want to just show those films. We show some of them, and we're happy about that. But for us as a festival, we have to also think about the larger picture, not just sort of the marketplace, but also the larger cinema going public and what they want to see and what they're interested in seeing and what we want them to see. That's part of it too. What kind of work and what kind of artists do we want to help promote and get their visions out there? So for us, it's a really complicated answer. together because there's a lot of different moving parts to it. So it's not just, hey, let's show this film because we know it will sell and we'll get the headline for it. Like that's not enough for us. We want to believe in a film. We want to support those different voices. And even if that is supporting a film that maybe doesn't seem commercial, that's okay. We want to be on the ground floor with some of these artists as their voices are emerging into the larger world, into the cultural conversation. And for some of them, fantastic if they get distribution, get nominations, win awards and all that. For others, if it's just that they connect with our audiences in Park City and Salt Lake City and at other festivals around the world, then we're super happy about that too.